Greetings, greetings, greetings. Welcome to another joint episode. It is great to see all of y'all. It has been a minute since we did a dual stream, but we appreciate every single one of y'all being with us tonight. So welcome to See Things Above TV, where Christ shapes our perspective and we view all things through a biblical lens. And also, welcome to
Barry and Babs with the duo stream. Well,
all right. Yes. So, man, just good to see all y'all. Shout out to Clint.
Good to
in
see
the
him.
building.
From Wisconsin.
We got Jazz in the building. What's up,
Jazz in
Jazz?
the house.
Sister Jazz. Yes, it is. It's
Yes.
a Cooney crossover.
Yes.
Terry said we'll watch the rerun, watching the Love Agenda now. Hey,
Enjoy.
thanks for tuning in,
Yes.
Terry.
Thanks
for tuning in, man.
Hit the like button while you're going back there.
Yes. Love Agenda is lit as always, so we get it. Eric in the building. What's up, brother Eric?
Hi,
Man, good to
Eric.
see you. Good to see you, bro. Thanks for joining. All right, so I guess we'll get started, man. We have it's a pretty light stream, but we definitely wanted to just connect and chop it up with y'all and interact on a few of the interesting stories that have gone down this week and interesting videos, I would say. Of course, there's always stuff happening out here in these YouTube streets, lots to comment on, but I would like to take a look today, starting with, I think we'll start with this video reaction from Todd Friel concerning the issue of Josh Buice. Okay, we're going to start with that one. And this was, you can see that he put a lot of thought and time into his response and wanted to convey a particular message in it, which will obviously unfold as you watch it. But we'll get started with that and obviously comment on it as we go along. We'll try not to, I always try to jump things forward here and there, just so that we're not, watching the whole thing. But let's get going with that. Welcome once again to everybody. We appreciate y'all being with us tonight, and let's get it going.
An offering for the good of the body. With that as our backdrop, with that as my goal, I believe now is the time to address an elephant that has overstayed its welcome in the room of conservative Christians. And that elephant, it's the spirit of censoriousness, hypercriticism, really unloving critiques of other brothers and sisters, which ultimately leads to division. And while I did not have a ringside seat to all of Josh's behind-the-scenes maneuverings, I sat closely enough to know that Josh did more than post scandalous things about his elders and G3 speakers. His online assaults, in my opinion, are merely the tip of the iceberg. Conservative evangelicals have witnessed a great divorce, and I believe it was instigated and driven in great part by Josh Buice. It's my opinion that he's responsible, not entirely, but in great measure, for the division that we've seen in our circles for the last 7-8 years. Josh ignited, fueled, and fanned the flames of division. And I think the recent revelations have made that clear. Josh relentlessly sought to cause division among friends. And this has been devastating to the body. And we have all been the losers in this game of division. Please note, not all, but most, whatever percentage that is, most of these divisions can be traced directly to what is known as the Dallas Statement on Social Justice and the Gospel, which was organized by Josh Buice, who was also the organizer of the original Dallas meeting, which I attended. And
All right, let's just hop in there for a second, man. So obviously we see this photo here of the Dallas Statement, the dudes that got together to, hash out a few things there and discuss what needs to be on it. Now, for a little bit of background on that, actually, I'll leave that to Berean Babes, because Berean Babes is a big Eva and whatever else historian, SBC enthusiast, and all that stuff. So, Ms. Violet, would you explain to us what happened, what was going on at this time, and how do we get to the Dallas statement? Give us the rundown real quick.
Yeah. Well, in short, it's called the Dallas Statement of Faith. It's still available online right now. But this statement was in reaction to wokeness that had entered the church. Okay, that was the premise in a nutshell, especially reacting to what happened on MLK 50. I remember this was in 2018. So this actually split the reformed camp, where you had some people who were reformed but were regarded as social justice warriors, and others were just regarded as these guys are reformed. So, for example, you had TGC, Together for the Gospel, and then you had what was the other one that just shut down? For the Gospel, something to that effect. I forgot the initials. So all these guys used to do conferences together, but once the Dallas Statement was signed, there was pretty much a separation that divided these guys who used to do ministry together into two camps. So maybe the most familiar people you might know, if you're familiar with Albert Mohler, if you're familiar with Lincoln Duncan, if you're familiar with everybody knows Tim Keller, so these were the guys who were quote unquote known, and then they ended up splitting. So the other side was considered as the social justice warriors, and the other side was just considered as reformed in a nutshell. So that's what happened. So this statement is what brought quote unquote seeds of division amongst the brethren.
Yeah, I mean, upon just first watching that was striking when he says that. It's like, wow, okay, so there's he's gonna, make the case here that there's basically we could trace a lot of division within the reformed world to this actual incident of the formation of the Dallas Statement on social justice. So very, very interesting take. Let's listen to him get into some of that a little bit more, and we'll, obviously come back with a little more commentary as we go along.
To be sure, there are today some men with whom we should have divided regarding CRT. That is certain. But Josh led the charge to divide with brothers who, for the sake of their own ministries, for the sake of their own consciences, refused to sign the statement, or they refused to be as publicly outraged about critical race theory as Josh determined we should be. And I think it's also worth noting that while G3 claimed to be a sub-church ministry, that it comes underneath local churches to support them and not tell them what to do or believe, I think Josh did exactly that. No quarter was given. To be clear, I affirm everything in the statement. I don't have an issue with the statement. I'm just saying this is what the statement was used for, division. And I think this is evident as you examine the speaking roster of G3. Men who were once speakers were no longer invited to participate. Why? Because they did not sign the Dallas Statement, and they were considered compromisers, if not outright woke. I was one of them, but I wasn't alone. And while I can't speak for every person that Josh led us to believe are woke, I can't say that because there are some people that it's been disclosed have been woke, but not all of the brothers who refused to sign the Dallas Statement are woke. And I know that because, well, I called them and I asked them, and they're not woke. Not all of them. Might we?
All right, man. I mean, sometimes it's just the way Todd Friel says stuff that's a little bit funny, but he means it seriously, right? He's being serious about what he's saying here. Now, I mean, the thing about calling them and asking them, and that's how you check whether they're woke or not, that's a little bit funny to me, because now we're going to the Mike Brown and Sam Storm's territory of, no, I know these guys, yeah, and they're not NAR, right? Yeah. It's one of those things. I know these guys and they're not what you're claiming they are. So I think, I hope he just meant that in jest. Sometimes he's a little bit, funny in the way he communicates stuff. But when we were reviewing this earlier, you made an interesting observation, Sweetie Pie, and that was that, yes, he may have been Todd Friel may have been excluded from some of the other G3s, but there are men who did sign it, particularly one who did sign it, who we know was never canceled from G3 until he canceled himself with his disqualification. And who was that?
That's Steve Lawson.
There you go.
Steve Lawson never signed a statement.
Right.
So Todd Friel is saying this as his opinion, but the evidence on the ground, it does not match. The people, G3, they can invite whosoever they want, right? It's their prerogative. So to say that the people who were not invited, they were not invited because they didn't sign the Dallas Statement of Faith, he has no evidence of that. That cannot be true. Because the people who were actually not invited to G3, they are actually woke, to be quite honest. This is not, we are just not making things up. David Platt has spoken at G3 before, okay? Look at David Platt ministry, okay? Is he woke? Absolutely, David Platt is woke, okay? So you have Al Mohler. Al Mohler fired professors at his seminary. Why? Because they signed the Dallas Statement of Faith. If you look at the statement, there's nothing wrong that the statement is saying, to be quite honest with you. You might want, it's up to you whether you want to sign or not to sign. So for him to say people were not invited because they didn't sign the Dallas Statement of Faith, that cannot be true, because Steve Lawson has always been the main speaker at G3 since its inception. And Steve Lawson never signed the Dallas Statement of Faith. Todd Friel always attended G3, okay? So, the other times he just didn't go because he wasn't invited because he didn't sign the Dallas Statement of Faith. No, he didn't go the other G3 because he got into it with James White. That's why he decided not to go, because he was out here defending the job, churches to be closed and everything else. He got in trouble with that with some of the other guys. So on that front, Todd Friel has no evidence to say these people were not invited. These people were even invited to go to Shepherd's Conference, where all this thing blew up, okay? They took that Q&A out, but I do have it in one of my videos, where Al Mohler was asked point blank, Lincoln Duncan point blank, why they didn't sign the Dallas Statement of Faith. These men, they had no answer. They had no answer why they didn't sign. I mean, it's their prerogative not to sign, right? But if you're doing ministry with these guys, if you believe what the Dallas Statement of Faith is saying, why didn't you sign it? Because it was out here calling out the wokeness that was rampant in the church. Because there was a lot of people leaving, quote unquote, white churches, living out loud. You know what I mean? You have the Eric Mason, Tabidi Anyambwiri, all these other guys. And yeah, to be quite honest, the social justice issue did brought in issues within the church.
Yeah. So that's the interesting part of this, right? Is that there may be, I'm not trying to say Todd is kind of changing facts here, but maybe he's giving it from his vantage point, right? So I wouldn't necessarily say that he's speaking untruths. I think he's giving it from his vantage point, but he's probably missing some of the stuff that we're talking about, right? He's missing the fact that, yes, and he said it himself. Like, some of these guys they definitely went the other way, right? Some of these guys definitely went the other way, and it is worth disconnecting from some of these guys, but not all of them. So, yeah, I mean, man, I get what he's saying, and I see the stuff as you've just kind of, very well broken it down for us here. I see, as we look back on those events, that it seems like there were more reasons as to why him personally was not, involved moving forward, right? Like, there seems to be, like you said, the issue with James White, and there's some other stuff going on behind the scenes that may have caused him to not be, in that rotation so much anymore. I mean, the conferences are fluid, though, right? You don't get the same guys every time.
Yes,
that's true. You don't get the same guys every time. But man, just talking about all this just brought me back to that time, man, because that was a wild time. You know what I mean? It was definitely a wild time when we had all the division going on. We had all the stuff that was happening at that time, man, where that was the moment where you started to see, okay, there is the unity that we thought we had within especially the Reformed world, is not there. And this thing is the dividing line. I mean, obviously, Vody wrote the book, The Fault Line, but this is literally, the fault line where things happen on one side and people chose to stand on one side or the other, and then the drift just sort of happened from there. And then also, I think, it also exposed some folks, right? Because there's some people who along the way where it's not even about, woke anymore. It's even like, I don't know what you're doing. Like guys like Russell Moore, whatever, right? Where it's just like, I don't know where you ended up at this point. But yeah, that was definitely a wild time for the church and for the reform world. Let's take a look at some of these comments, man. So what we got?
Good to see you, sister.
Jasmine said, Big Eva historian is a classic line in the great title. I'm just hating. Okay, so that's Jazz right there. And of course, we got Sister V in the building. Oh man. What up, Sister V? Always good to see her. Always good.
Hey, Leslie.
I feel like we don't bump into each other on the YouTube streets as much anymore.
Yes, happy Friday.
Yes,
happy Friday.
yes. Leslie, greetings, Leslie. I used to watch Todd Friel, but the things he has said lately about ADHD and other mental health challenges is so hurtful to me, so I don't watch him. Yeah, I haven't heard. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure. Like, I'm not the context, so would definitely love to hear more about that to be able to comment more on it, man. Yes, absolutely. Good to see you. Rob Q in the building. Hey,
good
what's
to see you,
Rob Q?
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to see you. All right, so let's keep this rolling a little bit more, and then we'll come back. But we can see the general thing of what is happening here and what is the case that Todd Friel is bringing forth. So let's keep it rolling.
We have disagreements with these men on some of the nuances of social justice. Yeah, but should we separate from these men with whom we don't see eye to eye on every jot and tittle? I don't think so. Josh did, and he led many others to do likewise. And this has been a devastating era for conservatives. And I would like to forward a modest proposal. Now that the Josh Buice cat is out of the bag, perhaps it's time for three things to happen. I offer these in the spirit of desiring to help, and not to be censorious myself, wouldn't that be kind of ironic? But to offer help for the building up of the body in love. Glean these as you see fit. Let's start, number one, with asking the question, if Josh Buice pretended to be someone else online in order to slander his own elders and speakers from his own conference, shouldn't we now assess the damage he caused and ask if we were misled by a man who was willing to cause division at virtually all costs? Just asking. Second, while I can't say that we should reconcile with each and every person who didn't sign the Dallas Statement, that's, I think, pretty obvious, but perhaps we can enjoy fellowship and be blessed by brothers who simply didn't sign the statement for the sake of the ministries that they're charged to protect, or it violated their consciences. I think we have enough distance now in the rearview mirror to conclude, oh, these guys are really conservative, and they're persevering, and they're doing really good ministry. And yeah, I disagree with them on maybe this or that, but maybe they're not woke. And maybe, just maybe, we can enjoy unity with them again and be blessed by them again. Third, can we please stop, all of us, stop contributing to the toxic tone and tenor of our online conversations with fellow believers? Can we please stop following, listening to, and subscribing to those who are willing to throw down the gauntlet regarding any and all disagreements? Gossip requires a host. And if we're not willing to play the host, then gossip, it's just not going to find a home. It can grow no root. Factiousness blooms because of gossip. And it's warned against repeatedly in Scripture. And it's time for us, all of us, myself included, to heed those warnings. So when you hear a man or woman who's willing to criticize with little or no charity, an Orthodox brother, look, I'm not talking about all discernment. I'm not talking about calling out heretics, nor am I even talking about not debating with our brothers and sisters about theological issues if it's done lovingly. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about the machetes that are wielded against our brothers and sisters.
All right. Yeah, he said a lot there, man. He said a lot there, but I think, yeah, let's just kind of, condense this and respond to it, right? So, yeah, okay. So the first point was something along the lines of, shouldn't we assess the damage that was done by Josh Buice through the divisive stuff he was doing that was done by the anonymous accounts, as well as dating back to this Dallas statement and all the subsequent things that, according to Todd, have led to where the division is this great. So that's the first one. And I've got no problem with assessing that and saying, okay, like how far. I think what he's really saying, man, without saying it so plain, is that, hey, is there a way in which we can trace some of the stuff that Josh was saying and see how much, he has basically poisoned the waters and fueled division? Okay, so that's really what it is. Like, how bad is his influence and his fingerprints on the Reformed world and other people as well? So that's really the first thing, and I think that, man, I mean, yeah, it's a fair question. I believe it's a fair question. I think the second one is more something that I have some thoughts on, but yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, my thoughts would be, I think what I'm hearing, what Todd is saying, he's mixing things, because if the Dallas Statement of Faith happened, this was what, in end of 2018 or 2019? So at what point did Todd Friel realize that Josh Buice is divisive, he's all these other things? Because Todd Friel used to attend G3. He's friends with all these other guys. And he was even there when the Dallas Statement of Faith was signed. He just didn't sign it, but he was in the camp. Now, to me, what I'm saying, he's mixing what has happened with G3 and with the Dallas Statement of Faith. So I disagree. I think he should leave the Dallas Statement of Faith. He shouldn't mix the Dallas Statement of Faith with what has happened with G3. Because to be honest, who are the people who were involved in the Dallas Statement of Faith, okay? In fact, Vody Bookham was actually, it was Vody and Joshi, the originators, right? So they brought in, MacArthur, James White, Thomas, Tom Buck. So all the men who were brought in, they already have huge ministries. They already have their big ministries. So I find it hard to believe that Josh Buice hoodwinked John MacArthur to sign the Dallas Statement of Faith. That I disagree. Now, I can grant him that over the years, I mean, he has a seat at the table behind the scenes, right? So he might know a thing, how Josh Buice was acting. Because to be honest, everybody else is more famous than Josh Buice, okay? Everybody knows Steve Lawson. Everybody knows Vody Bookham. Everybody knows John MacArthur. So to me, to believe that these guys were influenced by Josh Buice, I'll be like, I need more evidence in order for me to believe that. So I don't. Even though the separation took place, you can actually see, look at the ministry of David Platt. Look at the ministry of Russell Moore. So these are the people, like, yeah, you cannot discount that, their wokeness, even if the Dallas Statement of Faith didn't happen. Al Mohler was doing his stuff over there with the SBC that you cannot, nobody's going to agree with those things like to now. So I do think he's mixing things over there. There's some truth of the things that he has said, but I think he could have just limited to Josh Buice, like, okay, because he said it's been going on for 7 years. So if Josh Buice didn't fall, would Todd Friel would have been doing this video? So for 7 years, why didn't you say anything? Why are you saying something now? So those are the questions that I would pose to him.
Yeah, no, valid questions. Valid questions. What I'd say is, I totally agree with everything you're saying. I mean, I get your point of view, and yeah, I think what Jazz said over here is helpful. She says, I think he's saying hindsight is 2020, right? So I think basically just giving it more of that. Hey, can't we just take a look at this and say, man, there's some things where we may have gone wrong along the way, being influenced by this individual to think in certain ways. And that goes into the second question that he had, which was something along the lines of, can we not now fellowship with certain brothers and, not treat them as though they're outcasts, so to speak, simply because we disagreed on this particular issue? And for me, I would say for that one, that's where the gears kind of started turning in my mind, because when we found out that Josh was criticizing MacArthur in particular, right? And the reason he was criticizing MacArthur was not because of anything that MacArthur said himself, but simply because of his alliance and his friendship with John Piper, okay? And so he drew these very hard lines in the sand where he was saying that, okay, if you are in any way, shape, or form continuationist, on any part of the spectrum, whether it's the Piper side of it or, basically lumped the Piper side of it in and the Don Carson side of it with everybody, with the Benny Hinn side of it. Okay. So that to me is where you start to see like, okay, maybe there's some validity to what Todd Friel is saying, because it's easy for us to just kind of be in somebody's presence or to follow certain folks and then to start to adopt those mindsets without really knowing it. You think that, okay, this is just being biblical because it was all being presented as, okay, we're being biblical in disassociating and severing ourselves from these people. But then there were perhaps abuses of that, as we see how Josh Buice in particular, in that example I gave, was regarding MacArthur, where it was like, man, you're making this way bigger than it needs to be. You're making this way bigger than it needs to be. We understand that there's charismatics, there's cessationists, and we all hold to our positions because we hold to our positions. But that in and of itself, right, is not an issue to cause division to the point where, like, yeah, maybe we can't be in the same church, but I'm not going to be like, we can't even vibe, we can't even like interact, we can't be on the same platform or anything like that. So I think that there were some levels of where he went a little too far, and we can see that, and that perhaps there is some validity to say there is some kind of effect that may have rubbed off onto people unknowingly, and that it's worth discussing that. And then it's also worth reviewing whether or not all the people that we cut off were worthy of being cut off, So I think that that's, I don't have a problem with those if we're looking at it in that sense.
Yeah, what I'll add on to that, what is missing here? What was the reason why the Dallas of Statement of Faith was even signed, was written to begin with? Okay, so are the things that in the Dallas Statement of Faith, if you look at it, was it addressing things that were actually happening? The answer is yes. It was addressing things that were actually happening. Okay, so even if the statement didn't exist, the things had already risen up within the church. So the thing that I can grant him is, it looks like, to me, knowing that now Josh Buice has been doing things for 3 years, and then according to Tom Asko, there's even more stuff that they haven't even made public with. I do think that the more his ministry grew, the more this guy became a schemer, okay? He wanted to keep everything to himself. So on that, I definitely do grant, because like when he ended up coming after John MacArthur, because John MacArthur ended up platforming Lincoln Duncan, platforming John Piper, okay? So John Piper and Lincoln Duncan were part of the target against the Dallas Statement of Faith, because both of them didn't sign it, and they used to do ministry with John MacArthur. So there was a time where there was a break. So could it be that, you know what, eventually John MacArthur realized, like, you know what, these people are my friends. No need for me to lose friendship over. Let me invite them back to what? To my ministry. So when they were invited back to John MacArthur's ministry, when Josh saw that, oh, he lost it. That's why he ended up writing the article, even questioning John MacArthur's theology, questioning that, oh, now is John MacArthur no longer a cessationist. So in that, there is some evidence over there that's proving that Josh had problems when other people were doing ministry with other people. So much so that he was even having issues. Vodebukam doing ministry with Tom Askell, and yet these guys are actually on the same side, theologically speaking. They all signed the Dallas Statement of Faith. So it looks like Josh didn't want people to be friends, even within his own camp as well as outside. So he definitely had some bad seeds over there. And to be honest, you know, some Josh Pice didn't even know that some of these guys were compromised in the work sense. He was told about it, he couldn't even see it. So he was more of a reactionary, okay? By the time he was platforming David Platt was already as woke as they come, okay? And this guy couldn't even see it. So for him to come out now to be denouncing John MacArthur, I'm like, dude, where have you been? So, you know, it's crazy.
Yeah, no, I think it certainly was. There's just some stuff here that we can see, and like Jazz posted up there about the iniquity being in there already. Just there's stuff, man. Like when you look at it and you go back and you trace what happened, you can kind of see, man. I just think that there's got to be some validity to where it's like, just because you hang around with somebody, you absorb certain things, certain ways of thinking, especially if it's a leader, and you may not know it. And I think that probably there's some things where some of the folks that we are speaking of or who are close to the situation right now could review and say that, hey, you know what? I think that wasn't a good look. So that's what I'd say about that. Shout out to Thrifty in the building.
Good to see
you, Thrifty. Yeah, God Fancy so say, okay, like a gang. Yes, that's how it was.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he basically was like, man, you don't go to that side.
Yes.
What hood are you from, man?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? This is like, we don't do
Stay
this around here.
Don't cross over.
You wearing the wrong colors right now. Oh man, yes, this is not what I would think be in the church for sure.
Yes,
No, definitely not. Any sort of being cliquish and all that is nothing. And yes, RC was friends with Piper too. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And if you listen to the MacArthur Center podcast, which is a dope podcast, I highly recommend it. And you listen to some of the stories of MacArthur's ministry and some of the people who he even had, warm feelings for, right? People who he regarded as brothers, even though there were like real things to disagree with. One thing that you'll notice, man, is that there was never like vitriol when he was dealing with people who he disagreed with. And there were people who you wouldn't expect that he was actually, yes, not on the same page with them theologically, but he was cool with. Right. And, I mean, it'll shock you, man. I mean, like when I heard the Jack Hayford thing, where it's like, wait, so MacArthur was actually okay with Jack Hayford, even though Jack Hayford was a dude that was on TBN at times, right? I actually liked Jack Hayford when I first got saved. I don't know what it was about him, but I was like, man, you first got saved. I first got saved, started watching TBN, anything Christian, right? TBN. I think I was watching, I don't know if Daystar was out that time, but I was watching, they may have been out, but they weren't as hot as TBN. But you just watch anything, right? And I remember watching Jack Hayford, but he's not somebody whose teaching I would listen to today. But to think that Johnny Mack was cool with him at some point just shows that, hey, you know what, these things are, yes, you're not going to invite them to be an elder at your church or whatever it is, but you're not going to immediately just discard them without giving them a hearing. Maybe I have issues, but I've never followed John Piper. Something about him I never trusted. Clears this up about him I never trusted. Yeah, no, I mean, I know Piper can be a little bit weird and stuff, but I definitely benefited early on from his teaching. I think some of his books are fantastic. Don't Waste Your Life is a really good book, and his commitment to the gospel, I think, is very admirable and inspiring.
I think Piper also his associations is what also
Yeah,
do get him in trouble.
yeah, some of the stuff he comes up with.
Yeah,
as well.
it's just like, what are you saying?
The Christian
like,
hedonism.
he goes
Sometimes he says some weird
too
stuff.
extra.
Where it's like, let's kind of, you're doing more than. I mean, Jonathan Edwards is his inspiration, but even Edwards would be like, bro, I didn't say that, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's pretty much covers that video for Todd Friel. Y'all can check it out. There's only a few more minutes of it left, but, go check it out. Let us know your thoughts on it when you do review it. What Leslie said RC was believed in baptizing babies, but J Mac and him were the best of friends. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's like their friendship is so inspiring. I mean, like, RC told J Mac to do his eulogy and all that stuff. It's just like, man, like these guys were buddies to the end. Buddies to the end for sure. For sure. All right. Shout out to Atheist Gamer.
Hey, what's
good
up?
Good day, evening to you. Responding to our last
you.
discussion, defining causing suffering and as immoral, if true. I believe this is true, would allow us to see moral acts. Okay, so this is a Berean Babes thing. So I guess y'all will continue that one.
Yes, I got you, AG. I got you.
All right, Thrifty just said something. You see, Thrifty is on it. You see what I'm saying? Thrifty is on it.
I didn't.
I'm watching to see what happens with Tyler Oliveira. He made an episode on prosperity churches and apparently went on stage and called out Benny Hinn. Will be interesting to see how this shakes out. Well, you know what? We about to review some of that right now.
We have prophetess
right
in
this minute. Okay, so yes, we have Tyler Oliveira, and we're gonna hop in a little bit into the video here. But essentially, huge YouTuber. I had never heard of him before. Whether that's I just haven't heard of him. I guess his stuff hasn't come across my page before, but this did because he's addressing and exposing. The video's called "I Expose the Most Corrupt Churches in America." Okay, so let's just let some of this play, and we'll comment on it as we go along here.
You feel bad coming in, even asking questions, because they're all so sweet to you. We're gonna hop out, go to church, give some money to God, and hopefully it 10x's like crypto. What do some people misunderstand about the prosperity gospel?
I think they misunderstand the fact that in order for God to be able to accomplish what he wants to accomplish in the world, and through his people and with his people, and to those that don't know him, it takes finances to do that.
Money makes this world go round.
Absolutely.
Prosperity is an all-inclusive term. It's not about getting rich quick or anything like that, but having the kind of life that God would have you to live. Like Abraham in Genesis 13:2 says he was very rich in cattle, silver, and gold, which was what he needed. He had quite a heritage to pass on to others. But whatever it is, we pass that along.
Yes, sir. And how you doing, sir? We're doing a little interview right now.
Okay, this is private property. You're not allowed to do that. So,
why do you think people from the outside are so critical of the concept of the church having money or using money to sort of propagate or bring more people into the church?
It's been the some of the misuses and the abuses of the past that have not been godly, certainly.
I believe in the prosperity gospel because that's what Jesus preached. Prosperity in health, mind, soul, finances. So the whole Bible, the whole gospel is prosperity.
Can God's will be accomplished without money, do you think?
Well, finances is the fuel. Anything doesn't work in this world unless you have some financial basis to work from. None of this would be here unless...
Man, I just got to hop in there, man. I mean, you see the mentality of the folks that go here, right? And the way they look at this, man. I mean, that lady there in the parking lot that he interviewed, man, she says that this is what Jesus preached. these folk they're all in when they go to these churches, right? It's not like, man, I mean, just reading First Timothy and just like the whole thing of folks who would depart, man, and just like going after, people who have, going to tickle their ears, man. I mean, this is like, wow, man, this is crazy. And this dude right here, I don't know, he's an elder or something. He got the mic, the earpiece or something. He's like,
he's actually serious. You
Yeah.
see the way he's responding,
Right.
as if he's saying something that's actually true. But that lady getting in her car, that lady clearly she doesn't read her Bible because she's going to church thinking that this is what Jesus has taught. No. I was just like, what? Like, no, man, the gospel is free.
right. I mean, come on.
Oh,
Madness. All
no, she does not read her Bible.
At all. At all.
Yeah.
There
She's
was a
going to church
financial
so she
bait.
can get the prosperity for herself, too.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it is.
So I headed inside to see what the fuss was all about. Could this somehow be a misunderstood church with a lead pastor that happens to be worth hundreds of millions of dollars? As I entered the church doors, the first thing I noticed was Kenneth Copeland's store, selling everything you could think of and the Bible somewhere.
That is fire. That's a God-approved hat.
After purchasing a $38 Copeland hat, it was time to go to church and listen to what they had to say.
And we don't have to do a whole lot of deep dive into scripture to just find that from the Bible, from the Word of God, His will for you is that you prosper. About Abraham in Genesis chapter 12, and starting from Genesis chapter 12 and on, the very first thing that God did to ratify the blessing on Abraham's life was He brought him out and He made him rich. And church, I'm here to announce to you today, He's still bringing us out and He's still making us rich. He's still bringing us out and He's still making us rich. He will deliver you. He will set you on high because you've known His name. When you call upon Him, He will answer you. He will be with you in trouble, and He always intends to bring you out. It is because He's trying to get something from you.
All lies will be exposed. That's all.
Be a giver. Why? Because I'm a giver, so I want you to be a giver. Therefore, you step into the covenant. So this morning, you get an opportunity to exercise on Mother's Day what your mother would say. Do what you've been told. God wants to bless you, so step into the blessing. Amen? So if you're giving this morning, you can make your checks payable to EMIC. For cash, credit, or debit giving, there's an envelope on the seat back in front of you, which will populate there. Or you can text to give. This is one of our most popular ways. You can text 36609. Happy Mother's Day, and ushers, when the people are ready, you can wait on the people. Praise God.
As the ushers collect.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, so that's the first part there. And I mean, then he kind of explains how they got the money in. They had to do the offering after that, and how he explains even this this store, right? Kenneth Copeland's store is crazy, right? I mean, the store is like, I mean, you have $38 hats. There's merch. There's merch at the church. I'm not trying to rhyme here. There's merch at the church. Before the Word of God, you really have to search. I mean, it's like they have the merch. And it's expensive. Okay. I mean, I get it. Like every ministry has some kind of merch, and that's just a way of supporting the ministry. But man, what's a $38 hat? Wow.
I mean, this Kenneth Copeland.
Wow.
The guy has his own small airport over there. He has three, planes now. You know what I mean? He has 3 private jets, and the people are still going to that church is what baffles me.
Yeah.
At this point, I can understand back then, but right now, of all the things that Kenneth Copeland has done in broad daylight, why are you still going to his church?
Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely bonkers that this is what some people do this week in and week out, and they are dedicated to it, and they're all in, man. I mean, it's heartbreaking in one sense, but then the more and more you look at it, it's like, this is what they want, man. This is what the people want, and they're getting exactly what they want. So let's go ahead and hop over. So he goes over to Kenneth Copeland's church. Then he goes to Lakewood. So he actually goes to Lakewood
So be interesting.
Church, man. So we're gonna go ahead. Let me skip past because they got music and stuff like that playing here. So you know how it be out here in these streets. Let me see if we can hop in somewhere here. All right. So yeah. All right. Cool.
18 says, when you give, it can open doors. That's what we're believing for you, among other things, that in 2024, you're going to see God open some doors that you couldn't open on your own. That happens when you're faithful, when you honor God with your life, with your decisions, and of course with your funds as well. And that's what you guys do every week. So get that down in your spirit. God can open doors that no person can shut. In your business, in your finances, in every good area. For your children, for the schools they need to go through.
But did the attendants come here to worship God or to get a motivational speech from Joel and a blessing from God? But of course, no matter how charismatic Joel was or how blessed his hairline is, his church preaches that the more faith and money I give to God, the more blessed my life is. And at the end of the day, financially giving to God, or rather Joel's church, is essential to open doors that are impossible to open on my own. And this sales pitch works. Luckily for me, there was a meet and greet with Joel right after service.
People are donating. Prosperity is to come. What you giveth, you may receiveth in 10 times. That's the hope at the very least. I mean, I guess I have a few basic questions, but I really want to know,
what is the justification for the belief in that giving to God is required for God to bless you? And of course, has Joel himself profited off of God's word to enrich himself?
come on, Joel, let us in, please, God, please, for just one more, please.
Can't.
Please,
I
man.
have to have them out at a certain time.
Oh.
We do have books that are already signed that
Please,
I can
man. This close.
Now listen.
Oh, yes.
I need a promise.
All right.
You gotta go quickly.
right.
Can't dilly-dally.
All right.
Don't start a story
Fair,
with when
fair.
I was 5.
Fair.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Joel, how you doing?
Good. How about you?
I'm doing good. Could you sign my book?
I'd be glad to.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm from Austin, Texas. Joel, I have a question for you. Do you think you've used the Lord's word to profit, like grossly? Do you think you distorted the Lord's word to make money?
Thank you.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Appreciate you coming.
whoa.
Good. Thank you.
Whoa. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
I asked you not to do that in the obedience of God. He is a blessing, and you're here, and we asked you not to do it, and you still did that.
Okay, you're right.
That's not cool. God bless you.
God bless you.
God bless you.
God bless you. All right. I mean, pretty softball question, I thought. God bless. I don't even know what the problem was, I'll be honest. I kind of stumbled the question out. How many books have you sold today?
Good amount. Clearly, Joel didn't want to give me anything besides an opportunity to buy his newest book. So I headed.
All right, man. So, man, a few things happening there, man. I mean, some interesting stuff going on there. So, yeah, I mean, he actually got to meet Joel Osteen and holler at him, and he's just as friendly and cheerful, you know, the friendly, smiley Joel Osteen that you expect, and that's exactly who he was. Now, so a few things, okay? Few things here. First of all, this is just for a little kind of side note here. So the lady was not wrong when she said to him, hey, man, don't tell him your whole life story, okay? This is a little tip for all my brothers and sisters out there. When you go to book signings, when you go to conferences, when you go wherever, and you meet your favorite speaker, somebody who you follow, do not spend 5 or 10 minutes until people have to look at you funny and everybody who's waiting to sign the book can't sign the book because you're out here pouring your life out to the guy, okay? Or the lady. Don't do it. So she wasn't wrong in that. Now, here's the thing, man. I don't think, other than him having this, you know, footage, which we're all reviewing here and which is, everybody's going to look at it. This video already has over 1 million views. Other than that being what happened, you know, the effect of this, there's no change of conscience that's going to happen to Joel Osteen, okay? Like, nothing, he's not going to achieve anything in that realm. All this looks like to the folks who surround Joel Osteen and all these other guys is that these are just haters and enemies of God, enemies of the man of God, and they're sent by Satan. And that's literally all this is going to be looked at. So he didn't accomplish much in that respect.
Yeah, I don't think he didn't accomplish anything. I understand if this is what he wants to be doing, I'll just say like, okay, you're just doing it. If you want to call it expose, this is what you're doing. But everybody knows that Joel Osteen is already like a false teacher. You doing that is not going to change anything. I mean, like, yeah, we're going to see the video like, oh, okay, this was exciting and everything. You know what I mean? You embarrass Joel Osteen and everything, but that's just about it. Because there's no way Joel Osteen at that point will be like, oh, now I repent. Oh, I'm sorry I was doing this. I don't think so. It's entertaining to me. That's just how I see it. But as far as false teachers, they have to be confronted. But guess what? They have to be confronted through the word of God and not through tactics. The tactics are not going to do anything. It's fine that he's doing that, but, you're going to get your 2 minutes with Joel and that's just about it. But I just don't see that it can accomplish anything dealing with people like... And now, if he engages you, then that will be different. At least you can have an exchange of ideas. But Joel is not going to engage with anybody, especially somebody who disagrees with him.
Yeah, I mean, he wouldn't even engage, honestly, with Larry King. You know what I mean? Larry King was asking him some very straight questions, but he couldn't even engage with it.
That's not for me to say, Larry.
Yeah. Leslie said, why did he buy that hat? I mean, that's a good question. I mean, I guess it's a souvenir that he went to
I thought he wanted to buy it. That way he can get it signed and get closer to Kenneth Copeland and be able to get whatever content. Because I don't think he's out there like, okay, I want to support Kenneth Copeland. So I think it was a strategic thing. Like, okay, let me see if this will get me. Because that's actually the best way for you to be able to get a contact with a speaker. Have the book, have them sign. At that point where they're signing, you're able to, be able to talk to them, get a picture, one or two things, as opposed to as a handshake. So that's what I think.
Yeah, the book said, think better, live better. That's new age. Yeah, and there was some weird stuff about tithing in there too, man. I wanted to pause those pages, but there was something about just lies, basically.
Can anything be good that's written by Joe Osteen or Kenneth Copeland?
Yeah,
I mean, why are people even buying these books?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just shows that people just don't know the scriptures. They're definitely deceived because this is what the false teachers are going to do. Mm-hmm. They are going to take advantage of the naive because there are people who are just so naive and they will be taking advantage of, like, with people like Joe. And I mean, if you look at Joe and he's not threatening, he's always smiling. He looks like a nice, cool dude. And yeah, but he's getting all your money.
Yeah, sure is. Shout out to Nope in the building. What's up, brother Nope? Good to see you. Good to see you. The obedience of God. Right. The lady said that he's something about the obedience of God there, which was crazy.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I mean, the delusion is strong. The delusion is definitely strong in these ones. All right.
Oh, Sister Betty. Good to see you.
Oh, Sister Betty in the building. Yes. Good to see you. All right, let's go ahead and watch a little bit more of this. Now we're going to jump forward to the encounter with Benny Hinn. Okay.
Don't you love Benny Hinn?
This is kind of wild, man. This was kind of wild, but let's go over to that section.
/Tyler Oliveira for less than $5 a month.
And God's people said, amen. You may be seated.
Benny Hinn is a false prophet.
Enough is enough, brother. Enough is enough.
Hey.
Enough is enough.
I'm peaceful. You're
Yeah.
Whoa. He's abusing the word of God, somebody. Hey, no problem.
Help the dear man out. It's all right. No problem. It's all right, brother. Calm down.
While I was getting the George Floyd treatment, fighting for each breath, my cameraman ran for his life to avoid a similar fate.
So we're going to get into the scriptures. Can we do that now?
Hey, man, but you know what? We got to shout out Benny Hinn for being calm there, man. Because he was like, he was chill. He didn't even flinch. Benny Hinn did not even flinch.
Yeah.
Right? He was just like, okay, calm down, brother. Calm
calm
down.
down, you know.
Okay, it's enough. It's just
He
like
wasn't fazed.
he was
Yeah,
not
that's
worried
enough.
about anything. I mean, he probably would have pulled the jacket out and just waved it
I
at
just
him.
waved at him and then he
the
was just
dude would have
falling.
just fallen down or something. You know what I mean? He was
Don't
not
mess with Benny.
worried at all. Benny was not tripping at all.
That was
But yet again, man, it's the same thing, right? It's the same thing where it's like, okay, this is sensational content. I mean, you ran on stage, caused this spectacle, and everybody you caused this uproar in this gathering, and now you have this content, and now we have the conversation, which is a good conversation, but as you can see, Benny Hinn ain't tripping.
Yeah.
The people there, they ain't tripping either. So all it looks like is just some crazy dude got on the stage. And to be very honest, the way he did that there, he's lucky that that's all that happened to him.
Yeah, because that's very dangerous.
Because if you run up on somebody, it would have actually been, I would say, not a huge issue. Of course, it would have been a case or whatever it is, but if somebody had pulled something out, and y'all know what I'm talking about, one of the security guys and perceived him to be a threat and either wounded him or worse still, he got a fatal wound, it would have just been like, okay, well, hey, how are we supposed to know this was the guy just making content?
Especially if those issues have happened before in the church, right?
Absolutely.
Where people have ended up being deleted in that way. So, yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
not a
I'm
wise
just
move.
saying, I mean, if he did that at our church, I don't know, man. If he did that at our church, I don't know. I don't know. Might be a different story. But yes, so yes, that was that was what it was. And I don't think he accomplished much with that situation right there. Okay, let's see what there was a little bit more. Okay, it was a little bit more that happened to his cameraman because his cameraman took some lumps too.
Only to get captured and beaten with his own camera.
I was hit twice. I was hit twice with a golf cart, assaulted by a person here. Then he tackled me and threw me into the middle of a active road. And after that, they kept beating my head. And then they grabbed my camera and they were trying to delete the footage actively.
I just got hogtied, body slammed and tackled. Pasha went running and apparently they clipped him with a golf cart and proceeded to beat his head in and delete the footage. So things are not looking good. We are headed to the hospital right now where he is. Gonna make sure he's alive. Apparently they deleted all the footage from the camera, so it's gone. I've been trespassed. I'm headed to the hospital, making sure Pasha's alive. In an ironic twist of fate, the church themselves beat the shit out of us, from what it sounds like. Beat the shit out of Pasha, so we're gonna check in.
They tampered with video evidence. They deleted the first one. They could not touch the second one.
How are you telling them what happened there? What did they do? They ran
me over with a golf cart twice. He said I'm gonna die today. He threw me into the middle of the active roadway in front of a semi truck. He beat my head with an asshole. Like 4 or 5 people.
Okay, man. I think Pasha is adding a little bit of sauce
he's adding
here, man.
sauce too.
I mean, okay, you can get injured with a golf cart. There are some injuries and even fatalities, I'm sure, with golf carts. But the way he's talking about it here, man, as though, man, this was his life was in some serious danger.
But they were also trespassing. So you have no case. Right. You had no business being there. And this is what happened.
This is funny because I thought the same thing. Eric said the cameraman sounds a bit like Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's what I thought. And they beat me again and they beat me. I was like, it just sounded like a bit like Arnold there, man. And they took the golf cart and he did sound a bit like Arnold Schwarzenegger, man. But yeah, I think he was maybe he's just not hasn't confronted a lot of danger in his life. I don't know what it is, but yeah, he seemed to have been really shook up by this whole situation. But yeah, that's what it is. What did Miss Betty say here? She said 2 Corinthians 4:17. Yep, for our light and momentary afflictions, producing an eternal weight of glory, many more. Yep. Better to be afflicted than to deal with these prosperity people for sure. Stunts can also make people dig deeper into their beliefs. They use this type of behavior as proof, such as saying the world is wicked or they are being persecuted, etc. Yeah, interesting. Yep, this could be validation of that. I just know that these kind of things, man, you can't mess around with. There's actually a case in VA that happened recently, and that was of some kids who were like, the pranks are out of control right now, right? We know that this prank culture is crazy. These kids, there's a prank apparently where you knock on somebody's door, and it's like at odd hours of the night, and it's not knocking, it's like violent banging on their door. And these kids did that at somebody's house. And I mean, it's sad. They were all under the age of 20, I think, maybe even under the age of 19. And you don't know. The person woke up, didn't know what was going on, and let off some shots, man. And I believe there was a fatality there. And one of them also got wounded.
Dangerous.
Yeah. So you lose your life over a prank, man. Over a prank. And this is, it's just silly. Silly things that we see in this culture.
Yeah, hit some likes up, guys. We are low on the likes, on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed to Seek Things Above, be sure to subscribe, okay? Check. YouTube is purging, okay? Happy Friday. Good to see you guys. All right.
Yes. Actually, this is a good point to hear that Thrifty brought up. She says, the video has interviews with people who left the Prosperity
That's
Church.
good.
Yeah, so definitely watch the whole video, because there are some guys who give their perspective, and these are Christians who don't believe in the Word of Faith movement or prosperity gospel anymore, and they gave a good breakdown of why it's just completely unbiblical. So I would definitely check out the whole video from Tyler. He did do a good job all in all. I'm glad that he came out okay, and that Pasha is okay as well. The cameraman survived the golf cart incident. He did survive that, so he's good. Man. Yep, but I mean, that's what it is. That's what we got right here, man. I mean, it's all worthless vanity, nothing new under the sun. Yep. Pranking is not cool at all.
Yeah, young people, they just do things. They're not thinking through. Like, it's dangerous. There was
Betty
one
knows the
in
story,
England. They ended up going in someone else's house. Like, it's
Oh no, they were doing that.
Yeah, like,
going in. It was like these sort of breaking and entry stuff
Yeah.
that they were doing, and they were just kind of like going in people's houses. And it's all for clout. It's all for views.
they'll be
and
streaming it so people can see.
yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of silly pranks. There's the pranks I saw. These guys who are going around. One of them is in jail now, if not both of them. But they had a whole career of doing this stuff, and started going around doing stupid stuff like kissing people on the. I mean, like, this is like men kissing another man while he's sleeping, like just kissing the guy on his forehead. Like, a dude is asleep at the airport like this.
Oh yeah, you get.
And then somebody just comes and kisses you on the forehead, and you turn around and there's some dude, right? And it was stuff like that going on. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Get
Eric
punched.
said he got to the chopper. He did. Pasha was looking for the chopper. He could not find the chopper, man. You wish you did have a chopper. Oh, man. I know. This generation is out of control. This generation is out. I don't know what's going to happen in the next 10 years,
And then
man.
with the Chat GPT, the AI stuff.
Yeah,
Stuff's
people
gonna be
don't
crazy.
do their work anymore. Like, there's going to be a bunch of unqualified people who have good jobs probably in the next couple of years here because of AI. So it's a very strange generation that we're in.
Oh, wow. I did a poll. The poll is 50-50. Who is most dangerous? Hinn, 50%. Joe Osteen, 50%.
Oh, wow.
Okay, 50-50.
That's what's up, man. Y'all are not deceived by Joel's sweet and calm demeanor. People are not deceived by it.
Yeah, No, man.
I mean, it's the one that, Satan appears as an angel of light, man. And I mean, you don't get more sort of
Smiley Joe
angel
is
of
not
lightish
doing it.
than Joel Osteen, man. I mean, that man is in a nice tailored suit, looking fresh and everything, clean, smiling at you. All the while, he's leading you down the path of destruction, man.
Destruction, yep.
Crazy.
No, we warn the people, right? Yeah. They need to be rebuked sharply, right?
Absolutely.
Yet, and must be silenced because they're upsetting so many people with what they're doing, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, man. Hey, I think we covered those two stories, and that's what we had going on for y'all tonight, man. But we absolutely appreciate everybody. You got the dialogue continuing with the Atheist Gamer here.
I know.
And Berean Babe, so that's going to be cool as y'all continue to engage. We love to, chop it up with people with all kinds of beliefs, man. We need to test what it is you actually think and, believe. So
that's
it's all good.
Yeah.
It's all
I guess on the next
good.
live we can answer some of those questions. But no,
There you
as
go.
an atheist, you have no grounding to say something is true or not. What's your foundation? On what basis are you saying this is false and this is true? All right? If something is painful, so what if something is painful? All right? Suffering, so what if somebody's suffering? Who cares? In your framework, you have no grounding.
So that's another video for
yes,
another
it'll be
night
very
for sure.
interesting, yeah.
Berean
for
Babes,
sure.
y'all can get into that over there. So, if you haven't subscribed, I'm not sure which channel you're watching it from, but man, again, appreciate everybody watching. Subscribe to Berean Babes. Subscribe to Seek Things Above TV. We'd love to have you over there. Got some new stuff coming up in the works, so definitely look out for that. Absolutely do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Do all the stuff that lets YouTube know that you like content like this. We appreciate every one of y'all.
Yeah.
And
thank you for being here.
I
We
think
appreciate your viewership.
yeah, absolutely. We'll be back. I don't know when, but we'll try to do another dual stream next week. Schedules don't always allow us to do that, but man, it's a blessing to be with y'all tonight.
Yes.
Enjoy the rest of your Friday evening and the weekend, y'all. God bless. But before you go, if then you have been raised with Christ, seek the things that are above, where Christ is, seated at the right hand of God. Set your minds on things that are above, not on things that are on earth, all right? God bless y'all, and we will see y'all on the next one. Peace, 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 peace.
Thank you.